everybody, welcome back to the Blink Weekly Newsletter. I'm Bianca Lager, and I give one-on-one advice to business leaders about tricky career conversations and business moves out there. We're just trying to get by. We're just trying to get through our day, trying to get to Friday, trying to get to the fun stuff. And sometimes some of these things can be really difficult. I have been a people boss for many, many years. I've been building businesses, managing folks for a long time. And you know what? People like my advice. So maybe you should listen. Here is our question of the week, where I go into our anonymous advice section. So here we go. I am the founder of a small e-commerce startup. Congratulations. Good for you. And I've been working around the clock to get our business off the ground. Recently, I hired a close friend to handle our marketing and social media efforts. It's a tale as old as time. But I'm starting to have doubts about their performance and whether they're the right fit for the role. I'm hesitant to terminate their employment as I value our personal relationship. However, I'm concerned that their lack of productivity may be holding the company back. Is there a way I can get anonymous advice on how to handle this situation without damaging our friendship? Ooh, so tricky. A lot of small companies do this. A lot of companies do this, period. It doesn't necessarily have to be small. It's who you know, right? You hire a friend, you hire your old coworker. And there's so many things where it's not right fit, but especially when it's your business, when you are literally the one that hired them, and you put it out there. I've literally been in this situation. And it's hard and it's tough. So I will say that, can your friendship survive this? Maybe. It does depend on how you handle it. Okay. Now, there's two main decisions, of course, that you have. One is, I can give you advice right now on how to create goals that they, make it really easy and kind of like put them on a PIP, a performance improvement plan, without like telling your friend like you need a performance improvement plan, but just like, hey, we're just going to take a different approach now, right? And you have one-on-ones and you have specific goals and you're really tracking and measuring. It takes a lot of work on your part. And I think that there is the reaction to want to do that because you think, well, maybe it's me, maybe I haven't like given them the tools, maybe I haven't been clear enough about my directions. I need to be a better manager and leader. And those all might be true. I think those probably are. We could all be better leaders and run more efficient meetings. And especially in small business, it's like you overlook that kind of growth stuff, that accountability stuff, the more structure that bigger companies have. But that's the thing about small business. You really do need people who can take the initiative, run with it, do really well, and is just not somebody that needs you to really like hover over them and handhold them a lot more. You just probably don't have time for that. That's probably what this person requires. So if you want to try to make it work, that's the work that is going to be required. Now, you can hire a consultant to help coach them through, or you can try to do the stuff yourself. But don't be fooled. I think entrepreneurs, the second time around, fool me once, but don't fool me twice, right? Like, everybody has been in the situation, but they won't let it go for too long the second time you see it around. You already know this person is not the right fit for this stage of the company. It doesn't mean they're not great, but this is not what you need right now. You need a hustler. You need a person who's on it and moving, and you don't have to hover over. You just don't have time for it. And unfortunately, like, that's the stage that the company's in. Now, if you're capable of it, that conversation is pretty straightforward and can be with your friend, and to say, look, like, this is not a right fit for these reasons. I think it's a healthy thing to learn to build, to how to have really tough conversations. I will say this. If you are going to try to have that conversation with your friend and say, listen, this isn't working, or we need to take a different approach, or, I'm going to try to hire somebody else. Anything of the sort of like the you're fired essentially conversation. I think you need to be really, really like direct and clear about what you're saying. Okay. So it's not like, like you really need to be like, listen, I need to, some of these projects and things need to move faster than the pace that we're moving at. And so what I've decided to do is actually hire this agency to do some of the work that I was having you do. And I know that puts you out of a job, and I really appreciate you trusting me and coming on board. Like, Angela, thank you so much. Here's 3 months of salary. I love you. Go forth and prosper. You might not have 3 months of salary. I bet you don't on a small startup, like kind of budget. That's the way the conversation goes in a perfect world. Okay. If you're able to like edit some version of that conversation and figure out a way to pay for her health care, do something that provides this girl stability. I don't know why I'm assuming it's a girl, but maybe it is. Marketing social media. It often is. Sometimes it's not though. Pardon my gender bias here. I think though that you know what you need to do. You know that you need to move on. You need to take a different approach. You might be able to have this open conversation, and depending on how good of a friend they are, it be really candid and it be really great. But you have to be very, very clear about exactly what you think. And if you get some pushback, and if they want to say, hey, give me another shot, and you just know it's not right, then you do have to weigh and understand that your friendship might take a hit for a little while. It's pretty messy when you get involved with kind of business and friendships like this. Can it survive it? Yeah. But, I think as long as you're respectful and you try to be as dignified and provide them with as much clarity and really just be really clear about exactly what's not working and exactly what you want to do instead, then just know that they might need some space for you, and they need room to breathe, and hope for the best that it does recover eventually. Now, if they react really poorly and they really get mad at you and, it's a kind of an emotional nightmare, honestly, you kind of don't need that in your life. And it sounds callous, and it sounds really like, hey, I'm picking the business over our friendship. But a reasonable conversation should have a reasonable response to it. So take a deep breath. I know this can be kind of tricky. Yes, there is a way to navigate through this, but in your mind, understand that there is very much a possibility, and I don't know you guys, but I would give anybody like a 60-40 chance. If you have a reasonable conversation, you have about a 60% chance that all will go well. But there's certainly an emotional sort of 40% chance that your guys' relationship doesn't survive this scenario, or at least takes a really bad hit for a while. Perhaps you can, patch it up later. I think you have to just walk into any conversation and any decision that you have with that in mind, and come what may. Be kind, be gentle, offer as much stability and hopefulness as you can, but do know that you're making the right decision for your business. And if you know it now, it's going to be true 2 months from now. It's going to be true a year from now, and it'll only get worse. So you got to do what you got to do. Good luck. That's a tricky one. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Bye now.